Hey everybody, Neil Thompson, founder of Teach the Geek here. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, as every bit helps. I want to tell you a story. This happened back when I was in school. I was in the audience during a presentation by a grad student, a PhD student who's from Japan. And let me tell you, listening to that presentation was difficult. Obviously, he's Japanese, so English isn't his first language, and it was painfully apparent that English was not his first language because he struggled mightily to get through the presentation. It was very difficult to even understand what he was saying most of the time. And so I don't even think a whole lot of people asked him questions after his presentation because we really didn't know what he had said in the first place. So for those of you all who have to give presentations in languages that aren't native to you, here are some tips. The first thing is you want to do is you want to make sure that you slow down. You don't want to speak really quickly. You may speak quickly in your native language, but if you're speaking quickly in a non-native language, it's going to be a lot more difficult for the people in the audience to actually understand. And this actually goes to anyone really who gives presentations, especially if you're talking to a non-technical audience, giving a technical presentation. But it's even more important for non-native speakers to speak slowly, mainly because of their accent. Their accent's going to make it more difficult for people to understand. And if you're speaking fast, it's even more difficult for people to understand. So certainly slow down the pace. Typically, we speak at 140 words per minute. So don't go all that much faster than that. It's really important for you to manage your vocal speed. The next thing you want to really work on is pronunciation of words. I mean, it's difficult sometimes. Well, it can be difficult to understand people if they're mispronouncing words. Although you can likely figure it out if you're the audience what word they meant to say or what they're talking about. But when it comes to presentations generally, you want to make it as easy as possible for people to listen to what you have to say. Always asking yourself, am I making it easy for people to understand what I'm saying? And by mispronouncing words, it's making it more difficult for people to understand. So really work on pronouncing words the way they are pronounced in that native language. Next thing you really want to do is practice. This is no time to start winging it, especially if you're giving a presentation in a language that's not native to your own. You want to make sure that you practice well so that you are pronouncing the words right or correctly, that you're speaking at a pace that people can understand, even though you have an accent that perhaps makes it a little bit more difficult for them to understand. So definitely practice. This is not the time also to use words that are hard to pronounce. I mean, I just did mention the importance of pronouncing words correctly. And if you come across these certain words that are hard to pronounce, even for English speakers, you want to try to avoid those words as much as possible. The use of visuals is also important and can be really helpful and effective for non-native speakers when they're giving a presentation in a language that's not native to their own, because a picture paints 1,000 words. So even if you struggle to come up with the words in the moment, the picture or the image on the screen on the slide can help in conveying the message that you want to convey. Very helpful. And then another point is to have an outline. You know, when you're actually putting your presentation together, it's going to help in just calming your nerves, I think, in knowing that you have a, a pace that you're going to use. You're going to have an outline that you're going to use. You're going to say this first, this second, this third. It just, I mean, presenting in a language that's not native to your own is nerve-wracking enough, but at least if you have a plan on how you're going to do it, it becomes less nerve-wracking. So those are some tips for those who are giving presentations in languages that are not native to your own. Firstly, you want to make sure that you slow down because of your accent. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for people to understand. So you want to make sure that you're not speaking too fast. Two, you want to make sure that you're pronouncing words the correct way so that it's easier for people to understand what you're saying. You want to make sure, or three, you want to make sure that you practice. And the practicing will help in making sure that you're pronouncing the words correctly and that you're speaking at a pace that people can actually take in what you're saying. Four, you want to avoid words that are difficult to pronounce, even for English speakers. I mean, you're already at this disadvantage of having an accent that perhaps is difficult to understand. So avoid words that are hard to pronounce. 5, you want to use visuals. They say 1,000 words. So in the event that you're struggling to come up with the word in the non-native language, at least you have an image to help you out or a visual to help you out. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you have an outline. It's nerve-wracking enough to give a presentation in a non-native language. But at least if you have a plan, it makes it less nerve-wracking. Hopefully that helps. Again, my name is Neil Thompson. I'm the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Until next time, take care and stay safe.